Popular reality TV show America's Next Top Model has been facing backlash for years, and rightfully so. There are many instances where America's Next Top Model has proven to be unethical and toxic, and therefore it could be damaging to the contestants and also to the viewers. America's Next Top Model and Tyra Banks specifically should be to blame here. If you've never watched the show, let me first explain to you the premise. America's Next Top Model first aired in 2003 and is hosted by Tyra Banks. It's a reality TV show where aspiring models would compete for the title of America's Next Top Model and also the chance to begin their careers in the modeling industry. The show is still currently in production with a new host and new judges, so now that you know about the show, you're probably thinking, what could possibly go wrong with the show that's based on appearance and unhealthy body ideals? Well, there's a lot to unpack here. The first issue that's present on the show is race. There are many instances where race was improperly addressed on America's Next Top Model, and it's very offensive and also really not okay. So the first time that this happened was in season 4 for a Got Milk campaign, which was a photo shoot where models had to dress as ethnicities that were not their own. So in this photo shoot, these women would have to take pictures with a child that represents an ethnicity that matches what they're trying to portray. So white women were given dark skin and afros, while black women were made to be white with blonde hair. So you could obviously see how offensive that is. Another time that this happened was during a Michael Jackson themed photo shoot, and this was a photo shoot where the girls would have to portray Michael Jackson throughout different times in his career. So a few of the girls were wearing blackface to look like Michael Jackson. Another time that this happened was in season 13, where the models portrayed an appa, or a biracial form of themselves, and the models would cover themselves in dark makeup while also wearing Native American headdresses and bindis at the same time. There were also many other instances of racism on the show, despite Tyra Banks being black, and there was a lot of bullying between the contestants and a lot of racism there, and they would do nothing about it. The next instance where the show proves to be problematic is the extreme makeovers that they do. In each season, contestants must get a makeover to challenge them with a new look. So in season 6, a contestant was actually ordered by Tyra to get a gap in her tooth removed and porcelain crowns installed, which is a serious dental surgery that she probably didn't even want and they were forcing her to do. And she was still actually expected to model after getting the surgery. So Tyra's response to this was, do you really think you could have a CoverGirl contract with a gap in your mouth? And that her tooth gap was not marketable. In season 15, Tyra Banks sent contestant Chelsea Hursley to the dentist to widen her already existing gap in her teeth, in order to have more of a Lauren Hutton look. So you could see that over time she kind of contradicts herself and also makes them do really serious surgeries even. Also in the extreme makeovers, the contestants would be crying because they're forced to cut their hair extremely short and they don't want to. They probably have emotional attachments to their hair, and it would just make a lot of contestants upset, and they were clearly doing it for the drama of the show. Also, if they refused the makeover, they would get cut out of the show, so they would have to do it. So this leads me to my next point, that America's Next Top Model has also caused a lot of injuries and health concerns. There have been numerous dangerous challenges placed on the contestants that have resulted in injuries. In season 6, a contestant went to the hospital due to dehydration, exhaustion, and food poisoning, all from being on the set of the show outside. Another time that this happened was when a contestant developed hypothermia during a pool photo shoot, and she actually got in trouble with the judges for not knowing her limits, when she would also get in trouble if she had pushed through the pain. And then another time that this happened was in multiple dangerous photo shoots and runways. So in one instance, there was a runway where they would need to walk through a swinging pendulum and try to not get hit. And then in another runway, they would have to wear 10-inch heels where actually one contestant sprained her ankle. Another unethical factor in the show is the lack of body inclusivity. It's clear that the show favors an ideal body type and shames contestants when they don't match their ideals. So in season 12, a model was eliminated for her weight gain. She was only 18, and a judge told her that her body gaining was a really shocking development. And then a judge also told her that it's just clear you're not taking care of your body. As a model, you're supposed to treat your body like a temple. So they're saying that by her gaining weight, she's not treating her body right. Another time where this would happen was where they would have bulimic models on the show and they would not be representing them correctly. There was a time in the show where a nutritionist would come on and talk to a bulimic girl, and all she said to her was that this might not be the career choice for you. And also, instead of using these struggles as an opportunity to educate people, they use it as more of a melodrama story for dramatic effect. Also, viewers had to wait until season 10 for a plus-size contestant to finally win. So another big issue were the nude photo shoots that they would make the contestants do. A lot of contestants were uncomfortable with the nudity for religious reasons or just being uncomfortable in general, and they weren't being accommodated for this. A contestant in season 2 was actually eliminated because she refused to pose nude. And my last argument is the insensitive moments that happen on the show. There are many other moments that happen on the show that are honestly just plain wrong and insensitive. So one time, a contestant learned that her friend actually passed away from an overdose, and she was expected to do a photo shoot the next day in a coffin, which was completely wrong. And then another time was a photo shoot where contestants would have to pretend to be homeless, and they actually got homeless people to pose as extras in the background, which was really insensitive. Other times that things like this happened was once a deaf model was to pose in the dark, which left him unable to communicate with the photographer because he couldn't see him very well or read his lips. And similarly to this, a legally blind model was forced to walk on a dark runway. So it's kind of seems like they're doing these things on purpose, knowing these people have limitations, and it seems like they're doing it on purpose for dramatic effect on the show. So they did try to change these things a little bit as the show progressed because it's still going on. So in newer seasons, Tyra and the judges are no longer with the show. They got all new judges, and that was pretty much the main problem, that a lot of the judges were being toxic towards the contestants. But despite all of this, Tyra ends up coming back to the show in 2018, and she becomes the host once again. Another thing that they tried to do to make the show a little bit better was they incorporated social media into the show so that fans could vote and there would be no bias within the judges, which was a good thing. But this still doesn't make up for the trauma that the show has caused past contestants. So there are many instances where America's Next Top Model has proven to be unethical and toxic, and therefore it could be damaging to viewers and contestants. And Tyra Banks, the creator of the show, should ultimately be blamed for it. Thank you.